experience to understand better how Americans think, how Americans see the world, how Americans negotiate, and understand better how the US government, which is very complex and almost unique, works. When I was negotiating in Malaysia, not so much in the Pedro Branca case, but in the land reclamation case, and this shows you the importance of personality. Because the chief negotiator from Malaysia in the Pedro Branca case, Tan Sri Kadian, was determined not to like Singapore. Although we were colleagues and old friends from Washington, he was the deputy chief of mission and was the ambassador, and was very kind to me, even though he was number 2 and not number 1. I went out of my way to be kind to him. But he was, for some reason, he doesn't like Singapore. And he did not reciprocate my gestures of friendship. So in the Pedro Branca case, it was not very collegial, the relationship. But in the land reclamation case, it's actually more complex. The Malaysian agent, Tan Sri Ahmad Fuzi, and I were old friends from New York. We were at the UN together. And he's a paradigm case of a Malay gentleman. If you understand Malay culture and you show him respect, you don't make him lose faith, you are sincere in your attitude towards him, he will reciprocate it back. And because Tan Sri Fuzi and I have this bond of friendship and mutual trust, and because the Malaysian Attorney General Tan Sri Patel and my late friend Mr. Tiwari from the Attorney General's chambers were very close friends, when the negotiations bogged down and we were not making progress, I would very often suggest an adjournment. And the 4 of us, Tan Sri Ahmad Fuzi, Tan Sri Patel, Tiwari and I would meet together. And many difficult issues were resolved in this 4-person setting, not in a big delegation setting. Because on the Malaysian side, there were troublemakers that were trying to prevent the 2 leaders from compromising with us. And I mustn't say bad things about my own colleagues, so I'll pretend that there are no troublemakers in Singapore. But when we adjourned, from the plenary meeting, and just 4 of us get together, because we enjoy this strong bond of friendship and mutual trust, we were able to see each other's point of view and to meet each other halfway. Yeah. So that's what I mean. But whether you're friendly or not friendly, you never get away from the fact that at the end of the negotiation, you must arrive at a compromise, a conclusion that meets your country's interests as well as those of your negotiating counterparty. And this is true in every negotiation, no matter which country you're living in.
I know that Rachel had at least one more question, but since we have so many people who come, I know there's a lot of questions in the audience too, so I'd like to ask them if they might reserve their last questions and see whether we have some from the audience. We have one microphone, just one microphone? Oh, 2 microphones. Oh, 1 microphone, which I guess will circulate around. And you have your hand up first.
Yeah, hi, I'm Vinod, Tembusu College. I actually have a question about, okay, so this is a little related to the trend. Alright, maybe I don't need mic. Okay, so I have a question that's related to your conversation on the necessity of not alienating your diplomatic partners. What do you think on prospects? Okay, since your previous question ended on the note of diplomacy, I have a question regarding what I think is one of the biggest brands of diplomacy right now in Singapore, that is ASEAN economic integration.
ASEAN?
Yes. Do you believe that this is a viable project that can continue on, or would it lose momentum? And if this project succeeds, what challenges and opportunities do you think that will create for Singapore?
The ASEAN dream. Yes, I think there is an ASEAN dream. When I spoke in Beijing at a public forum in October last year, the Chinese invited me to give a public talk on the Chinese dream. because the new Chinese leader, Xi Jinping, talked about achieving the Chinese dream, the great rejuvenation of Chinese civilization. And I said that we in Southeast Asia support the Chinese dream. But we have a dream of our own. What is that dream? I won't give you the whole big dream, but just part of the dream. Our dream is that we want the 10 countries of Southeast Asia and the 600 million citizens to live in one united, harmonious family. We want to be united and not divided. And I would therefore make an appeal to China and other great countries not to divide us, to respect our wish, our aspiration to remain a united family. Another dream is that we want to become one economic community like the European Union. If we can succeed by 2015, which is our own target deadline, to create from 10 separate economies a single economy, like the European Union, a single market, a single protection base, common rules, common investment rules, we will be a very big regional economy, An economy of 600 million people with no border between the 10 economy. It's a very powerful economy. And if we were one instead of 10, we will be able to compete more effectively with the big countries of our region, China and India, for example. Is our dream achievable that we want to become one economy in 2050? I think the dream is alive. We are very close to completion. If you look at the report card, which the ASEAN Secretariat has issued every year, and this is one of the wonderful things about ASEAN, in that we reach a point of maturity when we actually empower the Secretariat to issue a report card on each member country and say, how much of the barriers have you removed? And how many more must be removed in order for you to comply with your obligations? Yeah? So they've given a report card. And I think the remaining barriers to 2015 varies from country to country. I think there's something like between 10 to 20% left. But the remaining barriers are the difficult ones, because they very often impinge on vested interests in the country. Nobody wants to give up their vested interest. So when you ask a big economy like Indonesia to open up your economy to your 9 ASEAN partners, many Indonesian companies and industry will say, no, please don't do that, or delay the process, because if we open our economy to Thailand and Malaysia and Singapore, we will be outcompeted by them, and this will be at a loss. They don't think of how one company may lose, but other companies will gain, and on balance, there's a balance of interest. So I'm relatively optimistic that we will become an ASEAN economic community. If not by the 31st of December 2015, which is our target, then soon thereafter.
Okay, further answer.
Hi, Prof. I actually wanted to engage you on your earlier point on minimum wage. Seems to me the government is allergic to anything that has a line. And so minimum wage level, poverty line, that's both things they do not want to have. I find it a little strange because this is a small country. A minimum wage can be quite effective equally. The substitute progressive wage model, which is implemented for one sector, we could go the way of Mauritius and then 59 sectors, as I think Professor Lim Chong Ya has mentioned. That looks terribly unwieldy for a small country. And secondly, with regards to the poverty line, I know all about this Kueh Lapis argument, and I don't agree with it. And frankly, I do not see why the government keeps thinking that its methods are better than anybody else. When surely a poverty line would simply concentrate minds of who are below it. So I can't grapple with this point. Do we really think that we are so unique that we can come up with our own things It was such a small
No, but I
country.
think maybe you are being too critical.